41 years ago, in an ancient Italian city at the foot of the Alps, once defended by Garibaldi himself, the European Archery Cup was born. Today, that same ancient city welcomes the world. Welcome to Varese, Italy for Stage 2, the Medexan Archery World Cup 2007, and the venue for this event, the Varese Hippodrome, Le Betole. So, sit back and enjoy as we bring you the best moments from all the gold and bronze medal matches, compound and recurve, men and women.
For Italy, it is a great honour to host the World Cup here. Before I say anything, I want to say a big thank you to all of the athletes for shooting under such conditions. There are many nations coming to shoot here in the final. It is very important to watch European archers, but also American, Chinese, and all the competitors from Eastern Europe, competing for a good position and a good final. For Italy, it's great. We have 3 archers in the bronze and gold recurve finals, and for Italy, this is just great.
In the recurve bronze final, Natalia Voleva faces Hanna Marasava. Hanna comfortably leading 76-81 at the end of the third. 11 arrows down, Marasava in the lead, 9 points there for Voleva. Marasava just needs 5 or better to win. And she puts it in the 7 ring, so Marasava taking the match 105-102. Disappointing score for Natalia, who's used to a lot more, but it's Hanna who takes the day and the bronze with 105 and a big smile. In the men's recurve bronze match, Mauro Nespoli faces the man who upset the Koreans in Ulsan, Thomas Aubert of France. And the opening arrow, 9 points for Nespoli. Thomas already had 4 points in the World Cup ranking at this point. And in that first end, Nespoli picking up some points. 10 points needed to tie. Aubert shooting a 9, so Nespoli taking the lead. And 10 points from Nespoli. Now, Aubert has a little bit of pressure. He's shooting steadily, but he's only in the 8 ring on that shot. As we move ahead in the match, you can see Nespoli's got 81 points. Aubert with 1 point leading, going into the final 3 arrows now. And here's the final shot for Nespoli. It's a 10. And so Aubert needs at least an 8 to win, and he delivers 8 points to take the victory.
I was happy to have not lost the lead in the first 2 ends. I needed to be cautious. George announced in the final end that I needed 8 to win, and this put a little bit of pressure on me. We can always do better, and that is what I'm trying to do. For Antalya, we have the selection next week, so we will decide the team for Antalya and the World Championships.
In compound, Shabani Akram came away from Stage 1 in Ulsan with 15 points after finishing in 4th place. First arrow, the 4th, and Shabani is 10 points behind Gladys Willems, who had her first 1400 score earlier in qualifying this week. And now, with 1 arrow left for Akram and 2 arrows left for Willems, Gladys with a 9, taking it up to a 105-95, 10-point lead. Now Akram with a 104. Willems just basically needs to hit the target, and she delivers 10 points to take a big victory. $18 points in the World Cup for Gladys Willems after that achievement, and 15 for Shabani Akram. In compound, Patrizio Hoffer and Roberval dos Santos tackled for the bronze. We join the match now with Patrizio shooting arrow number 9, trailing by 2 points. Roberval shoots and scores 10 points on that shot, so he's got a 2-point lead. And so, Roberval with a 2-point lead going into this final end. And Patrizio delivering an X. Roberval needs a 9 to take the lead, and he shoots 10 points, so he's got 2 up on Patrizio right now. 9 points for Patrizio. Roberval 8 points will give him the lead. It's another 10, so Roberval now picks up a 3-point lead. Final arrow. And a 10, but will it be enough to hold off Roberval? Nope, not enough. So Roberval dos Santos taking the match.
I am able to shoot better now because I have new equipment, and this is great for for an athlete. The great start from Patricio, but I already there, so I need to do my best and shoot well.
Lee Ha-young flying the flag for South Korea as she faces Russia's Natalia Erdeneva in the recurve gold match. Lee didn't feature in Ulsan. She's actually not one of the very top Korean shooters. Natalia, however, came to Varese with 6 points from stage 1. First arrow and first end. Lee shooting and scoring 10 points. The calm-looking Natalia Erdeneva matching it with a 10. After a 5-point win over Hanna Maraseva in the semis, Natalia was looking more and more like a Recurve Goncharova every day. But that 8, a bit of a falter against a Korean shooter normally. Now, Lee has a total of 3 arrows downrange and 29 of a possible 30 points. And Erdeneva with a 9, so she's 2 points back after the first 3 arrows. Looking pretty calm and relaxed right now. 27 points on target 2 for Natalia Erdeneva. It's the first time that this particular format, shooting off a platform, has been used at the World Cup, so something new for the shooters to get used to. It gives a very good presentation for the audience. After 3 ends, we're looking at 28 points for Lee after the third end, total of 85 and a 2-point lead on Erdeneva. As we move into the final end, pressure is going to be on Erdeneva, who's going to shoot first on target number 2. Going into this last arrows now, Erdeneva, 83 points. Timing doesn't change much for Erdeneva in these finals, and she shoots 10 points on that shot. Lee with an 8, and now the score is tied. Erdeneva with a big opportunity here. And she does not quite capitalize on it as well as she could with an 8 on that shot. On the other hand, Lee picking up a point now, and it's the final arrow. Lee ahead by 1. Erdeneva finishing with 10. She needed that. Now that puts some pressure on Lee. She's going to need a 10 to win. And she clinches the match with an X. Solid shooting and very happy-looking Lee on that shot. Natalia Erdeneva had come to Varese after losing out to Korea's Choi in the elimination round in Ulsan previously. This time, though, Natalia beat Korea's Kang Hyung-ji in the quarterfinals, 105 to 108. And so she's got to be satisfied with having picked up some World Cup points, while Miss Lee is obviously quite satisfied with this gold medal victory, another one for Korea. Michele Frangilli and Belgimat Sarempolov shooting against each other. Michele Frangilli is the only man defending Varese this time as he meets the Russian Federation shooter in the recurve final. He'd beaten Frenchman Thomas Aubert in the semifinal. Frangilli, something of a legend not just in Italy but around the world. He's one of the outstanding recurve shooters of his age. Sarempolov, though, has had a long track record dating back all the way back to the Barcelona Olympic Games of 1992. Now, going into this final arrows, that depth of experience serves him well with a 9 on that last arrow, but not enough to hold off Frangilli, who needed 8 points to win, taking victory at home. Well, without a Kanzatseva or a Goncharova in the final, the World Cup is wide open, and the Swedish legend Petra Eriksson making a welcome return to the FIDE stage, facing Jamie Van Natta, the finalist of last year's World Cup. Jamie, who had lost to Sofia Goncharova in the quarterfinals in Ulsan, bouncing back here with wins over Lucy Holderness and Shabani Akram. But as it turns out, there's a few extra distractions in this match. Now, Petra has shot 10 points on the first shot, and Jamie shot a 9, so Petra getting off to an early start. Petra, a very rare competitor, both proficient in compound and recurve. She's medaled at World Championship events with both disciplines. Second arrow, and Petra still a point ahead. And she picks up a 10 on that shot, so she has an insurmountable lead after the first 3 arrows. Now you see this yellow smoke coming across? Well, it turns out a parachute demonstration is taking place, somewhat unscheduled. And so Jamie's wondering what the heck is going on there. But she perseveres and shoots pretty well in spite of the haze obscuring the target. Well, you know, we thought we'd seen everything in archery, but it seems that someone arranged a parachute display which ended up arriving about 15 minutes late. So, you know, this is a bit of a challenge for both Jamie and Petra. It's definitely one of those situations you don't expect when you're shooting an archery tournament, to have somebody almost land on you with a parachute. The unflappable Jamie Van Natta. And she picks up 9 points. There is a breeze coming from left to right. It's not apparent from the wind flags, but it's definitely there, and it was affecting Jamie a couple of times in these matches. Petra compensating pretty well for it, though. After 4 arrows now, Petra with a potential 5-point lead. 8 points will give her the lead. And so Petra picks up a 9, another point. Now taking it to the halfway mark, and Jamie prepares to shoot. The helicopter still buzzing the crowd right now. That's a bit of a distraction as well. 55 of a possible 60 after that first 6 arrows, and Petra prepares to shoot. She needs 8 points to keep the lead, and she shoots a 10, so she picks up 2. It's a 3-point lead total right now. Petra Eriksson, after the second and first half, has a 3-point lead, 58. Jamie Van Natta with 55 points. Pretty good shooting from both of these shooters, especially when you consider what's going on around them. And now Jamie, since she trails, shooting first, going into the second half of this match. Calm, steady computer programmer from Ohio. And she shoots 9 points. Really good form. If you ever want to really learn how to shoot a compound bow, you can't go wrong watching either Jamie Van Natta or Petra Eriksson. Both of them using back tension, and both of them with great follow-throughs. Petra is paying off right there with a perfect shot. And you can see the breeze on the wind flags picking up just a bit. Jamie compensating pretty well for that X-ring. Now the wind coming in more or less from the front, and Petra nails an X. She knows it too. Petra has actually shot some incredible scores in the past year with her compound bow. Earlier this year in Stavanger, Norway, Petra shot an incredible 14-18. It's an indoor match that she shot, so it doesn't count for world records, but it's the highest score ever recorded with a compound bow from a woman. Now, with 1 end to go, it's a 4-point lead for Petra Eriksson. Jamie Van Natta trailing by 4, so she'll start off for this final end. Pressure's on Jamie. She's used to it. Been there, done that. Solid shot, but 8 points. As you can see, the wind just a little bit more than she compensated for. Petra shooting and scoring also off the right-hand side, but she picks up an extra point. And now, with the final arrow on the board for Jamie Van Natta, all Petra needs is a 5 to lead, and she shoots a 10. So a pretty big lead for Petra right now, 6 points. Jamie, 9 points downrange. All she can do is wait for Petra to shoot a 4 or better. Plenty of time on the clock for Petra Eriksson. And she hammers gold to take the match. Petra Eriksson with 116 points, a 6-point victory over Jamie Van Natta. Gold medal for Petra, silver medal for Jamie. A great performance for both. Jamie picking up some World Cup points, and Petra is probably planning a World Cup charge all the way through the year.
Last year at the World Field, I decided to switch to compound for this season. So I've been training really hard with the compound and getting ready for this outdoor season. I'll try really hard to qualify for Dubai. I'll definitely be in Antalya, and then we'll see.
It's probably Miss Arnold.
Any archer will tell you, before you can walk on the world's archery stage with any conviction, a customized quiver full of arrows is an obligation. So without further ado, welcome to Pimp My Quiver. So this is all the gifts I have been offered, and they bring me luck. They're all important to me. I don't have a favourite one because they have all been offered to me by people whom I care about. This one is very special to me. This one I received from one of my best friends, who is not an archer.
Hello.
Some archers, however, prefer to bathe their arrows in a soothing East European alcohol-based bubble bath before conducting voodoo-like rubbing exercises. And then there are other archers who...
It's my traveling bridge. I bring it with me to all my tournaments. The way I look at it is I'm standing here on one end and my goal, the target, the X-ring, is on the other end. And if I just stay focused and stay on track, I stay on my bridge, then I reach my goal. Actually, I can't. I gotta shoot.
But we wait for you to come back.
Most of them have just kind of built up over the years. I don't find they're good luck. Just usually there for decoration, or when you get bored when you're shooting, you've got something to play with.
This is from my first international competition. It was offered to me by Eugene Asari, who was the world champion in Turkey some years ago. She offered me this, which was made by her mother. These bands represent the Vierge del Pilar, and the rose and the book, it's Catalan, like me.
Compound gold match, and Braden Gillentine facing the legend from down south, Jorge Jimenez. Braden eventually beating his teammate Josh Binger on distance after two, even tie breaks, and 115 at the end of 12 arrows. Braden then shot 116 in the semi against Roberval dos Santos, 116 being the highest pass from the quarter and semifinal rounds. Jorge Jimenez, a little bit of a national hero back home, where he's gotten a lot of attention for his performance in the World Cup events, including his victory from Korea. Jorge's tournament average of 116, but he's managed higher than that, and it looks like he's going to need that because Braden's on a bit of a roll today. Took out Patrizio Hoffer and the Swedish legend Morgan London, previous world champion, on his way here to meet Braden. Braden Gillentine, a student at James Madison University in the United States. He also has been shooting a recurve bow rather avidly for the last few months, and it doesn't hurt. As you can see, 10 points. Braden using a back tension type release. It's different than the one Jorge uses. Jorge is using one that uses, well, it's a little more like a firearm trigger. It's a different philosophy to get to the same thing. Jorge might have an advantage in heavy wind. Braden, however, as you can see, performing just fine, and not much wind to speak of. Really good conditions. The flat light lending itself very well to high scores as well. Jorge intently focused, and he shoots 9 points on that shot. Braden had a tremendous performance earlier in the year, and it's showing here. Earlier in the year, Braden managed to win the World Indoor Championship, his first World Indoor title. There's a radar chronograph attached to the system showing how fast the arrows are from each archer. And as you can see, Jorge's got a faster setup, 283 kilometers per hour, about 20 kilometers per hour faster than that of Braden. Jorge's shooting higher weight. Both archers are shooting basically the same arrow and the same arrow point. It weighs about 100 grains on the point and about 365 or so grains on the arrow weight. But with the extra weight that Jorge is shooting, another advantage for him in the wind. But right now, doesn't count all that much. There's no wind to speak of. Jorge shooting 10 points on that shot, on the fourth shot, and Braden's going to need a 10 to lead, and that's an X. So really excellent shooting on the part of Braden. He's clean so far after the first 4 shots. Jorge giving up another point on that one. Braden needs 9 points to keep the lead on this shot. Very intense looking Braden Gillentine shooting another 10. Jorge Jimenez, 10 points. He's got 58 points, so Braden needs 9 to keep the lead. And that is an X. Pretty incredible. 60 points after the first half from Braden Gillentine. Jorge's shooting well, but in the face of perfect scoring, giving up those 2 points that he's shot so far that are in the 9 ring, well, that's not going to cut it. Braden's going to put the pressure on Jorge because Jorge's got to shoot first since he's behind. The hero of El Salvador, Jorge Jimenez. Solid shot. And 10 points, 7 in a row now. 20 seconds left on the clock for Jorge. A nice, relaxed-looking X, almost perfectly in the middle. Jorge had taken a silver medal in Mexico in 2006. 2007 could very well be his year. He's got lots of points from Ulsan and another 10 from his opponent, Braden Gillentine. That is 8 10s in a row for Braden. 9 points, another point down. This is pretty good shooting from Jorge, but perfect shooting. Once again, another 10 from Braden. 90 points. Braden Gillentine with 9 consecutive 10s. You don't see this too often at this level of competition. Jorge shooting really well, but pressure's really on now because he's got himself a situation where he's 3 points behind after shooting almost perfectly. The problem is his opponent is shooting perfectly. 3 arrows to go. A nice shot from Jorge. Braden needs 9 to keep the lead, and it's another solid X. World record, by the way, is 120 points with 7 X's. It was shot by Dave Cousins a few years ago. It may be that Braden's got his eye on that record. And 10 points from Jorge now, turning it on. 9 points will keep the lead for Braden. Another X. Braden may very well be making a run at that world record. He just needs 1 more X. Final shot, Jorge Jimenez. And solid 10-10-10 for Jorge Jimenez. 118 points, a spectacularly good score, but Braden puts another one in the 10 ring. It'll be a perfect shot, and it's 9 points. Oh, and you can see that Braden's not real happy with that, but that's actually the unhappiest winner I've seen in a while. Braden Gillentine taking the match, 119 out of a possible 120 points. Great shooting. If you're Jorge Jimenez, you got to be thinking to yourself, wow, what more could I have done? Well, in Jorge's case, not much more. 118 out of a possible 120 points. That score would have won almost any other match today. It just wasn't quite enough against Braden and his almost perfect 119 points. Braden Gillentine has been on a roll all season, world indoor champion. He's got some points now, but Jorge Jimenez doing very well himself, picking up a lot of points after Ulsan and now here.
When I was up there shooting, I wasn't really worried about the world record. It was the last thing on my mind. I guess a little bit of wind came up from the left that I didn't notice. I made a very good shot. I thought it was in the middle, but missed by a couple inches off to the right. But next time.
And so spectacular finish. Sofia Goncharova, the champion of last year's World Cup, is now staged in #1 position on points. So's Jamie Van Natta, 34 points. Shabani Akram, the surprise from Iran, 3rd. Jorge Jimenez may very well have a lock on the World Cup right now. 46 points, a big 25 points for Braden Gillentine in his first event. Sebastian Brasseur, 23 points. Natalia Erdeneva moving up into first place in the rankings after stage 2 in Varese. Lee Hae-young, 25 points, and Pak Sung-hyun, the legendary shooter from Korea, with 25 points, moving into the rankings. And the recurve men after stage 2, Belgium Tsarempolov of the Russian Federation close to a lock with 39 points. Michele Frangilli second with 25. And Wang of Chinese Taipei, 25. And that's all from Varese. The planes, the parachutes, and we'll see you again in Antalya for stage 3 of the World Cup 2007.